Hello and welcome to Chapter 12, Bootstrapping and Crowdfunding for Resources. So what is bootstrapping? It's basically, in a sense, bootstrapping. If you ever heard the terminology or saying of pull yourself by your bootstraps, you're basically doing the best you can with very little resources, very little funding. Some of the most famous businesses or have started at bootstrapping, right? Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger actually started selling his clothes from the back of his trunk of his car back in the day. That's just one. The famous rapper Master P started No Limit Records, started selling from the streets as well, like just selling tapes and mixtapes and stuff out in the street. And so people would do whatever. John Paul DeJour of Paul Mitchell Hair Products would go door to door in terms of hair salons and sell their products like that. So it's, again, starting with very little funding. 7 components of the entrepreneur, of the entrepreneur model include what your why statement: start with, means at hand, describe the idea today, calculate affordable loss, take small action, network and enroll others in your journey, and build up on what you learned. And of course, the 3 F's in financial assistance. Sometimes entrepreneurs are more likely to turn to friends, family, and fools. But you got to be careful if you're going to ask for family and friends, because you got to write it in contract too. If you're going to ask money from friends and family, you better get in writing and in contract in terms of what you're going to do. And by the way, if a friend or a family member asks you for money on their business idea, make sure it's already an established company, and expect nothing in return. Bootstrapping or external funding, right? That's the question as to how you're going to do it. I will say, for business, for external funding, such as like from a bank or a venture capital firm or an angel investor. First of all, for a venture capital firm, unless you're building the next Google or like that company is going to make millions of dollars within less than 5 years, I wouldn't even waste your time. Like a venture capital firm is not going to invest in a construction company or a company that's going to cut lawns. They're just not going to. A bank is not going to loan you money if you don't have an established company and you have cash on hand. The funny thing is that a bank doesn't lend to a company that desperately needs the money. A bank is going to lend the money to a company that really doesn't need the money. That's just the sad reality. That's the truth. So, before you even, and no bank is going to loan to a startup idea. I don't know where it began with this whole analogy of, just write a business plan and go to a bank and they're going to give you the money. No, that does not happen. All right. So establish your business, get some money, and see, and you're going to have to establish capital first before you're going to get external funding. So that's why you have to bootstrap. Some ways that you can bootstrap is, as you're working a full-time job, use some of your money from your full-time job to invest in your company, or also go take a part-time job and use that money to fund your company, right? Start small and then grow big. Again, use your own resources. Again, you can use cash. Carefully use a credit card, but don't overspend it. Be very careful. If you have your own job, if you have a full-time job, use it to fund it. Start with a steady pace. I would be very careful. Do not go overboard with it. Be very careful. Be mindful. Sweat equity is non-monetary investment that increases the value of ownership. So sweat equity is basically you're investing in your company with no compensation at first. If you're gonna go work for somebody, if you're gonna be part of a startup, and let's say, hey, do sweat equity, get it in writing and see what that would look like. Crowdfunding versus crowdsourcing. Crowdfunding raises cash from large audiences, so you probably see some crowdfunding websites out there. You can just Google them and you'll find some crowdfunding websites. Crowdsourcing gathers talent and labor. One of the things that you can right now is it's a little bit much more easier to crowdsource and gather some talent and labor and get people to assist you with your with your business, start establishing it, and of course capitalize on information resources. There are organizations out there such as chambers of commerce and others that can provide some great information if you become a member. So take advantage of that. Crowdsourcing for customer engagement, right? Existing customers can be your crowd, engage informally, and keep customers engaged. Crowdsourcing can reduce labor costs, right? Doesn't incur overhead. Innovate solutions to problems and pay per task model. One of the things that, for me, for example, for my business, like I don't have a full-time web developer, someone who helps my website. I just pay this individual per task. He does get every 6 months. He has like a subscription just to help with basic things, but I just pay this person per task, and that's perhaps what you want to do to save some money. Like pay people as per task, and you don't keep them on salary because keeping them on salary is pretty expensive. Diversity on thoughts and ideas, and of course, entire company. You can build your entire company on crowdsourcing. Crowdfunding is, of course, one way to raise money, but of course, you have to be careful. If you're going to raise money, you have to actually deliver on what you're doing. Again, there are some websites out there, like Kickstarter is one of the really famous ones. You can go on Kickstarter right now and look at potentially crowdfunding ideas to put money into. You can actually do that. Again, money raised will be used to further develop your project, and you're going to give a reward for contributing. So here are some 5 basic rules when it comes to that project. Must create something to share with others, must be honest and clearly presented, can't offer equity, revenue sharing, or investment opportunities, can't fundraise for charity, and can't involve prohibited items. The types of crowdfunding sites, again, Kickstarter is one of them. So again, there's Indiegogo and some other ones as well to Kickstarter. There is equity crowdfunding. So there are companies, U.S. sites such as WeFound or Start Engine and some other ones to where you can put some equity and get some equity out of it. The patronage model is basically the financial support is given by backers without any expectation of a direct return for the donations. So again, you can Patreon allows to fund illustrators, authors, podcasters, and musician is one of them. Lending model, right? Again, lending people money. There's different forms of loans out there. So again, maybe you can get money to be loaned to you. Reward-based crowdfunding involves rewarding backers for their support. You give them a reward for it. The investor model, again, getting whether a venture capitalist or an angel investor or some other type of investor to, they're going to give you money in return. They want equity in the company, a certain percentage. Just be careful, though, that you don't give out so much part of your equity of your company. Because if you give out so much equity of your company, what are you going to keep? So there's some advantages of crowdfunding, right? You build early relationships. You help promote, of course, what you're offering. Again, make sure your product or service solves a real problem. Test and refine your idea. So test, refine, and plan. Be prepared. Connect with suppliers and distributors, and of course, connect with your customers. Accept advice. Again, probably feedback is one of the most important things. So get that feedback. Start socializing your campaign early. Spread the word. Use social media. Very few successes without advanced financing. Again, you're going to need some type of financing and some resources to help you build this. Focus, of course, video increases funding. Show backers who you are, so show your face. Make the most out of crowdfunding opportunities. Again, get those feedback from people who are giving money, and you might get some press coverage. Promote your campaign extensively. Engage with backers and collaborate. Commit to manage your campaign. Again, manage it. Don't have any delays. People really get frustrated with delays. So be very cautious of not doing the delays, and don't overpromise and underdeliver. People, you do not want to ruin your reputation on this. So thank you for joining this chapter 12. I'm bootstrapping.